Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. So Tuesday means exponential functions. And if you remember, there's two types of exponential functions. There's those for rules and those for rates. Check it out. So if you remember, a rule is kind of like if they say double or triple or quadruple or a half, stuff like that, okay? This is the equation you'll work with. A times b to the power of x, where a is what you start with, b is your rule, and x is the inputted time, okay? Then the other equation is for when you have a rate. Now remember, rate means a percentage. That's the long one. It's p times 1 plus r to the power of n. Now don't forget, when it's plus, that's the growth function. If it was a decay, it would be I knew you were saying minus. So these are the two that we're going to work with today. All right, so example problem number 1 says, a certain virus causes the infected to turn into zombies. Thank goodness the corona doesn't do that. It started with 3 cases and spread to 3 people within 24 hours. So now, for part A, you need to identify if this problem is a rule or a rate. Remember, a rule would give you something like double, triple, quadruple, or how many people it spread to. A rate, they would give you a percent. So if you look at our problem, it says it spreads to 3 people within 24 hours. So that's 3 people per day. Sounds like a rule to me. So we're going to use our smaller equation, a times b to the power of x. Well, we have to figure out our a, our b, and our x. So a is the start. It says, how many cases did it start with? Well, it started with 3 cases. Next, it says it spreads to 3 people per day. So my rule is times, 3 people. Now, it doesn't give me a time initially. So if it doesn't give me a time, I just write x. The equation is 3 times 3 to the power of x for part A. So part B wants to know how many people will be infected in 3 days. So remember, x is equal to the time. We want to know in 3 days. So I'm going to plug in a 3 for the x. To solve, remember PEMDAS, we have to do exponents before we do multiplication. So we're thinking 3 to the power of 3. Well, that's 3 times 3 times 3, which is, you guessed it, 27. For your last step on part B, you just need to multiply 27 by 3, and that'll tell you how many people were infected in 3 days. So for number 2, the problem says, I opened a new savings account. I put $300 in it initially. The bank said they would pay me a 6% interest rate if I kept the money in there for 6 years. So initially what you're thinking is you're thinking, is this a rule or is this a rate? If you said rate, you're correct. Why? Well, duh, there's a percent there. So we're going to use the long formula. Notice there's a plus sign in the middle because I'm gaining money. This is a growth rate. So let's plug in our P. P is what we start with. So because I put $300 in it initially, I'm going to write 300 for my P value. Okay? For my rate, it tells me in the problem that it's at a 6% rate, but please don't forget, you have to change the 6% to a decimal. Now, I've said it 100 times in class. Which way do we go? You guys want me to sing Beyonce? What does she say? To the left, to the left. So you're plugging in 0.06 for your R. So let's do it, 0.06. Now, we want to figure out our X, our power, or our time. Okay? It says, how many years am I investing it for? 6. So I'm going to raise this all to the power of 6. This is your part A because this is the equation that represents the situation. Now for part B, all you got to do is type this into a calculator and it'll give you your answer. A little hint, it should be maybe just a little bit more than 300 for your answer. Hope that helped. Have a great Tuesday. See ya.